Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classic, Last Known Classic. This is episode number 2512 and the book number 2406. Here we're discussing a complete era for all the books featuring one version of the Ghost Rider that collecting as one trade here, along with a few issues of Nightstalkers and a couple issues of Morbius. You'll find out what the issues are about. First up we have is Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, the complete collection. So, we have Felipe Smith, who was the writer of the all-new, who pretty much writes everything in this book, except for the What If Ghost Rider. Yeah, he doesn't write that one. Nope. That's Sebastian Gardner. Now, Damian Scott does issue 6 through 10. Todd Moore does the first 5 issues. 11 does Felipe Smith takes over, with Chris Acuna does 12. They also have it here, Ghost Rider Volume 8. Which is a very short-lived volume. I'll talk about that in a minute. Artwork by Denlil S. Bothrith. We apparently also have a Ghost Rider number 1, probably just a one-shot. Tom Ford is that one. And then we have, I think it's the back of issue 1. There's also What If Ghost Rider by Sebastian Gurr, and art and coloring done by Casper Woodyard. Now, the first 5 issues is basically Robbie's origin story, where basically you get a chance to see his debut, like how he becomes what he is, thanks to a spirit named Eli, who is not a spirit of vengeance. You see, basically the thing with this Ghost Rider is he's the first Ghost Rider to use a car. Yes, a car. Now, when I first heard about this particular character, there was a bit of negative reception toward the fact we have an all-new Ghost Rider. Well, because at the time when this book came out, we already had 2 other Ghost Riders. We had Johnny Blaze and Dan Ketch. There was also, of course, Alonzo Jones, who basically was absent spirit. And here's the thing. This book came out in 2012. Because I remember this, where basically people were questioning, like, why in the world are we doing this all-new Ghost Rider book? Because we already have a Ghost Rider. So, because also the fact that the face, the skull version, looked like a freaking cyborg, like he was from 2099. That's how I can think of it nowadays, But here's the thing. Despite the fact that the reception I heard about before the book came out, that people were not very happy with it, but the book itself has basically gotten a lot of respect over the years since its release. And Robbie Reyes is a very popular Ghost Rider who's still very much very around to this very day. Even part of the Jason Aaron run for Avengers for most of us run before he can move to Avengers Forever. Now, its opening story arc, he gets to, get this, take on Mr. Hyde because somehow it involves drugs. Also, Robbie's his brother, I think it's Gabe is his name. He's in a wheelchair. He's also got some mental issues per se. They did adapt this when he popped up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When they adapted this character for TV, where they kept the fact that Gabe was in a wheelchair and the fact that Robbie was a very caring brother, wearing this like attire, and the fact they cast an Hispanic actor to play him. Good job on the casting department because Robbie Reyes is Hispanic. And I gotta say, I have no issue with that. Not at all. I have no issue with the fact we have a Hispanic Ghost Rider. I mean, heck, we had a female Ghost Rider. So, what's wrong with Hispanic Ghost Rider? Nothing. The book itself only lasted 12 issues. And by the way, the first one is called Engines of Destiny. I think it's called Engines of Vengeance, I think it's called. And then the very next story arc, issue 6 we're talking about Damian Scott, who, this guy also was the first artist for the Batgirl book. Which Batgirl book? The Cassandra Cain book from 2000. Yes, seriously. So in this particular story arc, this is where Robbie met the original motorcycle Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, who Damian Scott, and of course, I do kind of agree with this. Damian Scott drew him like he was a freaking football player. Like he was so beefy. Of course, they fought him, they were a threat, and of course, he recognized him as a spirit of vengeance. And slowly, when Damian Scott left the book, Felipe Smith took over the art of the last couple issues. And once the book wrapped up, then we had later on this relaunch. Ghost Rider Volume 8, I basically remember this. It wasn't a bad run per se, it's just that it was different per se, because it was sort of treated as a team-up book where he's teaming with these other agents superheroes. He's teaming with Amadeus Cho, the Totally Awesome Hulk, Silk, I think also X-23. Let's see if I can find it here. Because basically it's them versus aliens. Excuse me, like, really? Aliens. And you're all thinking, why the heck are these fighting aliens? I have no idea. It's one of the most strangest things. So we have Hulk, Gabby, and formerly X-23, now known as Laura. Yeah, and they're pretty much treated as guest stars. And this story is called Four on the Floor, which is a 5-part story arc. Excuse me. And they fight this alien creature known as Kalis, I think it's called. And after they beat it, it's like, oh, book over. Yep. Book is all over once, of course, basically this... By the way, the thing is possessing him still comes in here. Eli Morrow, he's the spirit possessing him. He was apparently a serial killer. Who was also Robbie's uncle. Which, if you're really curious though, did Eli appear in Age of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Yes, he did. He used a Darkhold to steal water from natural resources, thinking he has magical power. He's taking power. And of course, Phil Collins is like, you're just a thief. Yes, seriously, called Eli Morrow a thief. And the book sadly got canceled after only 5 issues. And you're thinking, why did the book got canceled for? The rumor I had heard, the reason why the book got canceled, low sales. Yeah, that's the reason I heard, that the reason why the book got canceled. It is quite strange. That's just the reason I heard that they canceled the book. Dale has really interesting backup feature where he's fighting off against this Silent Nitro character, which, by the way, Felipe Smith does do this backup story as well with Tread Moore, which was the guy who helped co-create Robbie Reyes. Yeah. And of course, this is What If issue in the book too, because why not? Robbie Reyes is definitely a cool character. I do appreciate the fact what Marvel did with him. And it seems like he went, after appearing in the Unbelievable Scorpions Marvel Universe, he went to this book in particular. He also had a Infinite comic. Yes, a Infinite comic, which was never collected in trade. Nope, don't know why. And here's what happened to him after the book wrapped up. He later popped up in, by the way, the Ghost Rider Volume 8 book. Because I think that was in 2016. Yeah, 2016. Now, the final issues, I believe, in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, it was 2015. I thought it was 2012 the book came out. It was from 2014 to 2015 as the book came out. Like, from March 2014, and we conclude in March 2015, and then the next book was launched like the following year. And then after appearing in the book, he popped up in 2 issues of Unbelievable Gwenpool, which came out like a year later. And then right after these 2 issues, he popped up in the ever-popular Marvel Legacy, which he had to fight, get this, he got into a fight with Starbrand. Yes, as in the Starbrand created by Jonathan Hickman, which he died. Well, they haven't confirmed his death, but he apparently died. And then right after that book happened, he popped up in a one-shot for Free Comic Day, like he popped up in Iceman, Free Comic Day, Doctor Strange Examination. Then he popped up in, well, Avengers Volume 8. Appearing the book throughout for a good period of time. And then he went to Avengers Forever. And then after, after Avengers Forever wrapped up, then he popped up recently in an issue for the current volume for Ghost Rider, like fairly recent, like just a few months ago. Yeah, it was a flashback. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, with Captain Flashback, the most race experience he had was in Avengers Assemble Omega. Yeah, but as what he's doing now, not really sure actually. But this book was really good. If you're a fan of Robbie Reyes, or if you're just really curious about the guy, check it out. Also, here's the cover of the very first issue, right here. Yeah, that's what the artwork looked like. Yeah, the first image was released was the character's face, and I heard a lot of people were not happy with the design of the character. Not really. All right, next up. By the way, I'm gonna give that book roughly I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Just damn good book. All right, next up we have is Nightstalkers issues 5 through 9. Why 9? Because issue 10 starts off a crossover with Midnight Massacre. In the first two issues we have in here, issues 5 and 6, we have, get this, the Nightstalkers team up with the Punisher for 2 issues. Yep, really good two-parter. Yeah, DG Chess does an excellent job with these 2 issues. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it happens over the course of 5 and 6 where they team up with those two issues. Yep, and then 7. 7 is a standalone issue where they team up with the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider. Yep, and then of course, then we have some issues from Morbius, where next came Morbius number, I believe number here, I think it's number, excuse me, I think it's 10. Yeah. Yeah, issue 10, which led into Nightstalkers issue 8, and then that issue led into issue 11 of this book, and then finally issue 9. It's a brief little mini crossover between the 2 books. Basically, they're teamed with Michael Morbius for a story. Yeah. Really interesting stuff here. If you're curious who writes Morbius, Michael Morbius is written by the Morbius book, the first volume for the series. It was written by Gregory Wright, who's also the colorist of the book. Artwork by Ron Wagner, is a really good artist. Excuse me. And I love basically the fact that Morbius, people from Nightstalkers go see the basically Dracula from the 90s, because I see Anthony Hopkins, Winona Ryder, and Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman played Dracula in the movie. And it's something of the fact that they made this movie part of the Marvel Universe. I'm like, really? They made Bram Stoker's Dracula, a film that's also starred Keanu Reeves with putting on a fake British accent for this movie. And this movie is part of the Marvel Universe. I think this is kind of weird. It's kind of hilarious, too. Yeah, and this issue, the layer leads into issue number. Like I mentioned, it leads into Nightstalkers issue 8. And at the end of that issue leads into this book, next book here, issue 11. And we go back to issue 9. And then the very next thing is, in fact, Midnight Massacre crossover. These issues are actually pretty good. I thoroughly enjoy these. Will I review more Morbius in the future? Aside from Midnight Massacre? Yes. Yes, I will. I'm not sure where... excuse me. Like where in the case of Dan Ketch. Let's see, for Dan Ketch, this takes place, came up between issue 38 and I think 39 of his book. Mm-hmm. I think so. They of course they have a story leads, like I mentioned, with Morbius number 10. And then, by the way, the guy in here, Vic Slaughter, who apparently is allegedly a creation of, he's a sire for Michael Morbius. And then, like I mentioned, like it's a good thing I'm reviewing this with these issues, because You could say this is a prelude to into the event known as Midnight Massacre. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I'm very much looking forward to viewing. Oh yeah, definitely. Let me check and see how long this crossover is. I think it's really short. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 5 parts, so it shouldn't take too long to get through. Not really. Yep. But yeah. I'm gonna give the Nightstalker issues a 9 out of 10. Same with the Michael Morbius issues. And grab me for reviewing them. Okay, so that's the episode review. I have one more comic corner to do, and then it's on to the final episode of Deb Was a Part-Timer. Okay, thanks for you. Bye.